Help support our coverage with PureVPN, the fast, secure way to protect your connection at home or on the go. Get exclusive savings now at techpodcast.com/PureVPN.
We are here now with XELA Robotics, and this is Alexander Schmidt. Welcome aboard. My name is Don Bain. I'm the Gadget Professor, and we're delighted to have you here. Tell us what you guys do.
Yeah, hi. My name is Alexander Schmidt. I'm the CEO of XELA Robotics. So we are a startup from Japan. We make tactile sensing technology. Like nowadays, robots are still unable to do many things.
Right.
Because they lack a human sense of touch, and that's exactly what we provide to robots. So for example, when you grasp a cup, like you cannot see inside, but you know if it's full or empty. But without a sense of touch, robots are not able to do this. So we don't make the robot hands, we don't make the grippers, but we integrate our sensors to make them better by providing them a sense of touch.
So you basically are the sensitivity of the robot.
Yes, exactly.
What kinds of services are you providing now, or is this something that's...
We already have more than 50 customers worldwide,
Okay.
So this is a...
And give me an example of what they use your sensors for.
So
is it all the same type of thing, or everybody has a different need?
There are different needs. So we integrate our sensors into various robot hands and grippers. Then example applications would be, for example, in a factory. So you want to insert memory into a motherboard. And with vision alone, there could be slight misalignments. But with a sense of touch, you know I'm in the right place, how strong I'm applying the force. And so then the robot can adjust slightly to make sure that it doesn't harm the electronics.
So precision accuracy.
Yes.
Interesting. And how long has the company been around?
We started the company in 2018, so a little bit more than 7 years.
So you've been around.
Yes.
Why are you here at CES? I always ask that question. What do you hope to accomplish here, other than showing your magnificent inventions, if you will?
Yes, so it's our first time at CES. It's a very exciting opportunity to present our technology to a lot of different people. We participated in some other exhibitions before, but
Right.
CES reaches a wider audience, and so that we can show how our tactile sensors can help to automate.
It's the widest audience that you can get.
I think so, yes. It's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and where are you stationed?
We're in the South Hall, booth 8,500.
8,500, so if you people are still here, you want to check that booth out. Now, where does your operation take place? Are you here in the United States, or are you somewhere else?
So we are based in Japan, our headquarters in Japan, but we ship worldwide.
So if someone was interested in your product, they'd go to your website right now? Is that the best place to find out information?
Yes, or you can also send an email to info@xelarobotics.com, and then we will respond.
Now, everything you do, I would imagine, is different because everybody has different needs. So explain to me the process that I would go through if I had a need for your sensors, because you know where you could apply them, how you could apply them. All I know is that I need them to do A, B, or C.
Yes, exactly. So the people that tell us, for example, what robot hand, what gripper they want to use, then we help them with the integration. Then we also provide software services in order to make it easier to use the tactile sensors for various tasks like factory automation, warehouse automation.
Where is your biggest application at this point, or where do you see your application? I mean, to me, it's unlimited.
Yes, there are so many possibilities. So I already mentioned factory automation. Another one would be warehouse automation, for example. So the robot has to grasp an object that it never experienced before. And by touching it, it can feel like what's the weight, what's the hardness, what's the texture, and then it can control the grasping forces accordingly. You can detect slip, and so you make sure when you do a pick and place task that you never drop the object.
How long does that process typically take? I know it varies, but just in general, roughly.
In general, it's fast. It depends on the use case, of course, as you said, but it can be 1-2 months.
That's nothing. I mean, really, it's pretty quick. Now, do you go through a test phase and an analytic phase where you're, looking at what you've done and the customer's looking at what's been accomplished, and you do some variations at that point?
Of course. So one of our strong points, I would say, is that we can customize our sensors and our solutions to the use cases of the customer. And then, of course, the duration also depends on how new the application is.
So when you deal with a company, it's an enterprise situation. It's not a one-off. It's a large job, I would imagine.
Yes.
And is there any way of gearing the percentage of payment or payoff reward that comes from adapting to your sensors before and after?
Yes.
Is that a fair question?
It's a fair question.
Okay.
Nowadays a lot of these tasks are still done by humans. And companies, for example, in warehouses, they could save up to 80%.
That's a lot.
If they can fully automate their warehouses. And then a warehouse can also run 24/7. Robots never get sick.
Right, no sick pay, no paying the taxes, the insurance, all that stuff.
Yes.
No HR problems,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes.
Interesting. So you're talking literally enterprise situations. So what can the cost range from these?
So overall, it depends on the
Of
specific
course.
implementation, but the sensors are and the solutions are very cost competitive. So compared to the overall cost of the robot arm, the hand, the gripper, it's a tiny fraction. And then yes.
What a great investment for a company. Now, do you have your things deployed in warehouses, your sensors?
We have a lot of customers, and they use it for various applications. So we also have customers in the warehouse segment. Yes.
Boy, I'm thinking in the back of my head like Amazon is needing this.
There are a lot of different companies that could really benefit from it.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they do that. So the turnaround time, I would imagine, in a warehouse situation is going to significantly increase. It's going to be more efficient. Now, do these have tracking abilities, the sensors? Can they say how many times we've picked up something?
Yes, exactly. So you can also know when you grasp something, you cannot look inside of the gripper anymore, right? And so you wouldn't know, did I grasp the right item? Did I grasp 0 screw, 1 screw, 2 screws? But with a sense of touch, you know, did I grasp the right item, the right amount of items?
So you get really accurate analytics from that.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. So as I changed my product line, my sensors would change because they're all different. There's one sensor.
The sensors can stay the same, and the sensors help you to be adaptive to new products.
Oh, okay. That's a fascinating product. It's an interesting. How did you ever get into doing this?
So before we started the company in 2018, I used to be associate professor in Waseda University in Tokyo, Japan. And so this is a spin-off from the university.
And what's your PhD in?
I did robotics, yes.
Robotics. I'm so surprised. I get such a thrill out of interviewing young people like yourself that are so well accomplished at a young age. It makes me feel good because every now and then I lose faith in mankind because at least here in the States, you got all over, not only in the States, but you got some crazy lunatics running around that don't know what they want to do. I used to teach graduate school. I used to be a professor at Boston State, and this is graduate school. And I would say 3/4 of my classes didn't have a clue as to what they wanted to do. And it used to drive me nuts. I said, you're spending all this time and money and you don't have a clue what you want to do. And it used to bother me. So when you show up, I feel good. You're focused. You're doing something that's beneficial to mankind, and that makes me feel good.
Thank you. And I'm not that young anymore. I'm 43. So.
You're young. I'm old enough to be your grandfather. Well, I might be. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
I wish you a lot
exciting.
of luck and success. I don't think you need luck anymore. You're well on the way, and let us hear from you. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
All looks good. Thank you.
The Tech Podcast Network's CES 2026 coverage is executive produced by Adam Barker. Technical director is Ravin Ford. Associate producers are Nancy Ertz, Brandy Jackson, and Beth Price. Our hosts are Marlo Anderson, Don Bain, Scott Ertz, and Serge Velasquez. Graphic design by Vicky Gonzalez. Executive producer emeritus Todd Cochran. Award production is provided by Amrock Fab Lab. Studio equipment is provided by PLUGHITZ Productions. This has been a Tech Podcast Network production, copyright 2026.